The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. I'm Joe Castello, super excited. Just finished up the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals out there at Brainerd International Raceway, the zoo. The place was packed. It was chaos. We had a long day on Saturday, but we got it in. And the next race on the tour is the Toyota US Nationals. That's it. Indy is upon us. How exciting is that? I am fired up about it. What a great race this thing was. What a great race. Blake Alexander gets the win in Nitro Funny Car. Super excited for Blake and Jim Head and those guys. They work so hard. I always say it. I say it on a pretty regular basis that I think Blake has got breakout superstar potential, crossover potential, mainstream potential, and going out there and winning races is the only way to do it. And he did it. He got a great win. Very interesting, burst of emotion down there in the, shutdown area. We're going to speak with Blake on this show. It's going to be great to kind of hear the story, the behind the scenes of that big final round win against Matt Hagan. And, what was going on out there? Like people have been saying on our Ignition show, they called it the Yips Nationals. A lot of red lights, a lot of bizarre happenings, all of that. We're going to get into it here on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about Funny Car. We're going to talk Top Fuel with Justin Ashley. The Skag machine gets back on the board, third win of the season, and right at the right time. A lot of people have been talking about Justin and the 2024 season, maybe not quite as dominant as the 23 season, but we've spoken about it a few times. They're working a program, and the plan at the end of the program is the championship. And so to emerge at just the right time, right before the Toyota US Nationals with a win, is huge for Justin Ashley and the Skag Power Equipment team. And what'd you think of the animals on the side of the race cars? That's going to be a big question. And maybe will be our YouTube comments question of the week right down there in the YouTube comments. Not so much the live chat, but the YouTube comments, because Randy Glady asked me, he's like, what do you think? And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do I think? He's like, should I keep the animals for Indy? People are saying we should keep the animals for Indy. And I'm like, what do the drivers think, right? Driver likes his car, driver drives better. But let's ask, what do you think of the animals on all those Skag machines? I like them. That would be my answer. Keep the animals, right? Anything that keeps, the kids interested, a little name on the side of a race car, names on the side of the race car. Great. So we're going to speak with Justin Ashley coming up in a little bit as well. Those will be our guests. Working on Dallas Glenn for the future. Dallas Glenn extends his points lead. What a year it has been for Dallas Glenn. This guy has been strong and consistently the best driver in the best car over the course of the season, going many rounds. Maybe not as many race wins as in the past, but nearly a 200-point lead. We'll be speaking with Dallas Glenn, and I'm pleased to announce, I'm excited to announce that we'll be doing a U.S. Nationals preview show next week, which is going to be great, which will also mark the return of Alan Reinhart to WFO Radio. And I've been saying he's going to be back on the show, and he'll be back on the show next week. So I'm super excited about that. We encourage you guys to share the show and push it out there. We've had some really great videos out there on our YouTube clips. The Jack Beckman clips and the Erica Enders clips have been going so like gangbusters, and we really appreciate you. And I know we've had a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new people checking out the show, and you're in at just the right moment. Honestly, you're in at the right moment, because this is when it heats up and when summer starts to end and all the audience, the kids are back at school, the audience comes back. My days in talk radio, the summer were the doldrums. Everybody knew that no one was paying attention. And once everyone starts coming back after the kids go back to school, everybody starts to pay attention. And it's playoff time, and it's Indy time. And we're going to have a great preview show next week as we lead in to the big go. And if you're going there, we're going to have a big WFO meetup, and we're going to hang out. I get in on Wednesday night. We're going to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If you haven't already gotten your tickets, I would try to get your tickets. I would try to get out there and be a part of the big go. All right, before we get to our guests, I want to take a moment or two to thank and appreciate our sponsors and our newest sponsor, Jesse Converters, the DPF X Fit brand. I would love for all of you to scan that QR code, heavy and medium duty diesel. And think of all the trucks that are rolling over the road, maybe a tractor trailer that you would see pulling a nitro car, or maybe just something that's pulling a stacker, or all the different levels of diesels that you're going over the road. Folks at Jesse make catalytic converters for them. They also have their G-Sport line. Scan the QR code that is up on the screen. You'll learn more. And of course, we're going to have Eric Latino and the folks from Jesse on WFO to talk a little bit about why, number one, this is vital. Number two, maybe a little misunderstood, and hopefully get a little insight to. They did an experiment. They put a catalytic converter on a Pro Stock engine just to see what would happen. Like, let's test this. Lost no power, which is kind of interesting. Folks at Jesse on board with WFO. Of course, heard a little bit about Total Seal piston rings a few moments ago. New episodes of Hidden Horsepower going up. TotalSeal.com. We always say make them your first call, not your last call. And they are definitely the rings that are in Project Pontiac, which continues to evolve. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters as well. Their racing power glides are unmatched. Go to FTIperformance.com to find out more. Torque converters for pro modified cars, torque converters for top sportsman cars, torque converters for bracket cars, or even your street car. They're available at Jegs. Go to FTIperformance.com to find out more information and get on board. Also want to shout out to Randy Neal and his company, CWT Industries. These are balance machines for machine shops. You go in the machine shop and you see all the different machines around there. But if your machinist and your engine builder are truly and genuinely top notch, they've got a CWT balancer in their arsenal. It works better. It's more accurate. It's easier to use. It's a moneymaker for the machine shop. And if you'd like to know more or have a personalized introduction, you can just email me, joe@wforadio.com, and I'll put you together with Randy Neal. Really excited that those guys are on board. Bernie Speed Shop, Josh Hart, resurgent. So great to see Josh go out there and get the job done. And that car is coming around. They've been fighting it all year long. He's been saying he just wants to be friends with his race car. The fact of the matter is that the folks at Bernie's have got a lot of friends because they are helping people out with frame off restorations, total top to bottom customs, but they also are buying and selling. They'll sell your car on consignment. That is a way to get your classic, muscle, or exotic car in front of the largest audience. So if you do want to sell one of your machines, reach out to the folks at Bernie's. If you look to buy a machine and make sure it is the best possible it can be, go to Bernie's. Plus, they sell e-bikes, and they do a lot right out of their shop in Ocala, Florida. Over 100,000 square feet under the roof at Bernie's. BURNYZZ.com, and great run by Josh Hart. Also, the folks at Foggit, an easy way to support WFO Radio. Comes in a can. Comes in this can right here. And it is for the inside of your racing engine. It protects your cylinder finish. You think about that machinist we're talking about moments ago who worked so hard to make the cylinder finish so perfect, but immediately, as soon as you start running it, it starts dealing with all kinds of corrosive factors, and it begins to corrode and erode, if you think about it. And so your finish goes away. That's why at the end of each day of racing, you've got to fog it down the carburetor, in the spark plug holes, however you want to do it. You can even do it while it's running, although that is the slightly less effective way because some of it gets combusted. And it kind of pickles the inside of your cylinder walls. But it works on countless other things too. Firearms, it works on firearms. Anything that you want to protect from instant rust and corrosion, protect it with Foggit. Foggit. Available at Summit, available at Amazon, and available at Foggit.com. Later on in the show, I'll tell you a little bit about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and our great friend Marvin Rodak, and even how to become a WFO Patreon. We'll get into that. We're waiting on Blake, guys. Blake, I told him to connect, about 10 after, which should be any moment from now. I want you guys to share the show. Let's build the audience up. Make sure we got a whole lot of people on board for Blake. And let's see what some of the commentary is out there. Caleb, things are starting to feel normal again. Hearing from Alan and having ignition Yes, exactly. Caleb, thank you very much. Alan back on Twitter, which is really great, and super excited. We'll speak with him next week as we get ready for the Toyota U.S. National. Stephen Frisky saying good morning. Everybody saying good morning, depending on where they are from. WFO all around. What was going on in Brainerd? The number 14 qualifier, or let's just say it this, just to make it more dramatic. The low qualifier takes out the top qualifier, round 1 of Top Fuel. Ida Zetterstrom shocks Steve Torrence. Now, those things happen, but in the same race that Mason McGahey takes out the number 1 qualifier, Jerry Tucker in Pro Stock, it was just wild. It was a wild race, to say the least. I'm surprised the live chat is still available on how tender some of these characters. I don't know what's up with that, Kimmy. Like in the chat section on the shows, there's battling it out sometimes, people going back and forth with one another. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I want everybody to get along on my program. That's hopefully what it is. Joey Rocket is out there. Really exciting. Stephen going to get to Indy on Thursday. Looking forward to meet up with the WFO universe. Yes, we will definitely, and we always do a meetup. We've got a big meetup planned at the Stampede of Speed. Hopefully we'll be heading there. And of course, Reading, Pennsylvania. So many WFO fans out there. It'd be nice somebody to say what happened to Alan. Wow, Ken, maybe that is it's one of those things, right? We'll talk to him next week about what he wants to say. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out that it's probably not our thing to tell people. It's probably not our thing to tell people, right? Why are people revealing the information that we want to know? Why? You wonder why. Ken, you got to think, Ken. You got to think, what are the potential reasons? Well, it's maybe not their business to tell people. That's probably the reason, Ken. And I'm just being playful with you, Ken. Don't get sore. Don't get sore because, I've got 100 tweets. It's not my news to share. So there it is. All right. I see Blake is signing on. Blake is just about ready to join us. Share the show, guys. Fans of Blake, let's check out the final round. NHRA on Fox. Brian Lones, Tony Pedregon, comp winner Bruno Massel on the interview. An amazing interview. Let's watch the final round, and then we'll get to Blake, our funny car winner.
The Nitro Funny Car final in Brainerd. Here we go. A double step for Hagan. It is Blake Alexander for the 4th time in his career. Alexander drives to a 392.7 at 324 miles an hour. An absolute 180-degree turn of events for this team. Unbelievable.
Congratulations, sir. Let's just say that Blake Alexander is excited about this one, and he should be after the huge turnaround you guys had from Sonoma, which probably is about a bad race you could have in terms of what transpired for you and this team. And the performance that you had here today as a driver, as a car, as a team as a whole, you've got to be pretty happy, buddy, because you would have been tough to beat regardless. Congratulations.
Yeah. Jim Head is a gritty man, and I'm very fortunate to work for him. Very fortunate to learn from him. And I wanted to pay everything off for everyone that works on this race car today. And it's hard to do. And there's a lot of really good competitors out here. And there wasn't a drag race that I wanted to get to more in my 15 years of doing this, more than this one. So I was happy to be here and happy to light it up on Friday night, happy to light it up on Sunday for everyone at Pronto, Scheffler, head contractors. Thank you guys so much. So much.
Yeah!
My favorite part right there. He joins us now, Blake Alexander.
How are you, Joe? What's up, buddy?
I'm happy for you, man. That's how I am. I'm happy for you. That was genuine emotion coming out right there. That's what we need. Great job.
Thank you. That's all I got. Genuine.
Yeah. Good. No, that's what. So everybody was given genuine interviews. Like Austin on his Bad Light, he just laid it out there, and JR was given great interviews, like up and down, and that was like the capstone on the whole event. The way you went, like rushing over your team, holding up the Wally. I don't know if everybody at home got to see that moment, but I saw it. Just the outpouring of the struggle of this season. Just get into it a little bit. Like it's pretty tough out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously everyone saw what happened to us in Sonoma last race, and we had probably the toughest, race I've ever had in my, 14 years of doing this. So to come back and then, kind of not know what's going to happen and know that you needed to stay aggressive. And despite everything that happened out there, it was really cool to see how Friday night, transpired into us being number one. And then we kind of were able to peruse our way through the weekend and navigate each challenge that, we faced.
Yeah, I guess steel hardens steel, or tough times don't last. Tough people do, one or the other. I loved hearing you credit Jim Head, though. And that's, he's such a, I don't know, I think he's kind of a mysterious character because everyone talks about him like he's a really tough guy. But every time I talk to him, he makes a joke and he's kind of laughing, like a little sarcastic laugh. So talk a little bit about Jim and after this race, like what was that like?
It was good. He's my buddy. I mean, also we were, out on the airplane early in the morning and back to work yesterday. So it wasn't, if anyone knows Jim, they know that we were just working all weekend this weekend. So, yeah, but we enjoyed the moments that we had. That race is special to him. I believe he's won there in 1985 is what everyone was saying to me. And so it's been a little while since we won there. And some of the places he went to after he won, I don't think they were open when we were checking it out around town. But everything's good, and I was really proud of him and happy for him. I don't think people really understand the dynamics that go into running these race cars and choices that you can make with the engine at different places in the racetrack and how it can dictate, whether you're a hero or a zero out here. And he did a really good job on Sunday.
He took a lot of responsibility. I asked him on the starting line, like, what's been the difference on this team? And his quote was, maybe I got my head out of my ass, right? But it's not that simple. Like there's a lot to that. Can you talk on that a little bit?
I don't know if you guys have noticed our race car is running faster, and with that, there's other challenges that arrive, which is that when you have a fast race car, that normally means you're being pretty aggressive on your parts, and the processes that you've gone through are a little bit expanded. So we're learning, and everyone's watching us right now, and that's just part of the process is we're learning. And I think that's what we try to preach to all the kids who work on the race team, and I try to preach to myself every day is that I need to be learning, and I think he's trying to do the same thing, even though he's been around a little bit longer than us.
I think that's good, though. Every once in a while you need new energy, and I think you're definitely bringing it. So round one, you go up against Dave Richards and you throw down a 92, and I think that set the tone for the day. Like, wow, not only are these guys good in qualifying, like they just threw one of the best runs down in round number one to set up a battle against John Force's car and what was maybe the feel-good story of the weekend with Jack Beckman returning and John's Peak Camaro. And, like getting ready for that race when it's Jack and John's car, like that's emotional. You don't want to be the spoiler, but that's your job to be the spoiler. And that's exactly what you did. You spoiled it with a great run.
Yeah, I kind of saw that we were going to have the opportunity to do that if things went our way. E1. And they did. And the car, it ran 283 miles an hour to the eighth. So it still had all this, promising horsepower, but it was controlled in the way that we wanted it to. And that was really, it's encouraging to see. I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of can understand when we're doing stuff and it's working well. And yeah. And then the second round, I knew that was going to happen. And I knew he was probably, he raced our team car before. We call Bodie our team car when he runs good. When he runs bad, he's not our team car, though. And it was cool to see him take a big shot at him. Actually, I kind of want to open up on that a little bit because I kind of talked to him about staging the car shallow and driving the car the right way. And that way you could see exactly the performance of the car each time and learn about it. And you can learn about yourself as a race car driver too, and find out if you're actually good at it or not. And yeah, it was interesting to see him, but I got to kind of go up there again and do what he did, and we just ran a little bit better, and the conditions were getting a little hotter,
and we just lost Blake, like the quickest drop that I've ever seen in the world. Like he dropped off faster than a nitro car leaves the starting line. He's coming back, but man, that was a quick drop off. We didn't lose very much. You were talking about Bobby as your team car and how you were assisting him, and then it just dropped like that. But go pick it right back up there.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying that I've been trying to teach him kind of how to do the things the way I do them, which is just where you stage the car shallow and drive the car the right way so that your team is rewarded equally as you are, because you kind of learn how good you are at driving if you're sitting back there at the back of the staging beams and everyone else can go do what they want. But yeah, and it was cool to see him take that shot. We kind of thought he won because he was out in front of him, and like they're a smaller team than we are, and we have 4 full-time employees. So it was cool. I knew we were going to get the opportunity to race Beckman E2 probably if we took care of our P's and Q's and we just tried to do our thing out there. I knew they were going to give me a good car, and I just needed to kind of do my thing and, not
Left
screw
first.
it up.
67 on the tree. And to elaborate on the team car, for those that know about Bobby Bodie, like he came out on the Western Swing with you guys and has been eager with Dave Leahy to learn and go what he called, I forget what he called it last year, but it was like summer school. And
yeah, I mean,
are you comfortable with being the old guy though, Blake? All of a sudden, someone pointed out you were the oldest guy on the winner's circle stage. That can't possibly be.
No, it is. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm 35 years old now, and I've been doing this for 14 years, I guess. So, and I want to see young people kind of get more of an opportunity, I would say, than, I don't know how to properly say this. I had to really, 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 really work to get to where I was, and I feel like some of the information was concealed to me for no reason other than egos or lack of, people just didn't want to help me. And I finally did I realized when I owned my own car and Dave would give me his time for some reason. He gives everyone his time. So I kind of realized it wasn't anything special. But, I just learned, I've enjoyed being over here learning about the cars, and I've enjoyed sharing everything that I learned to the younger people who show that they care. That's
awesome. No, that's what it takes. Yeah. And that's what our sport needs, by the way. Maybe once upon a time, there were so many people that were trying to get in that there had to be like walls up. Now it's not exactly like that. It's a tough deal. And we're trying to grow. All right, let's move forward. Chad Green, semifinals, weirdness. He launches on nothing. It happens again in the final round, which is a bizarre coincidence. It happened to Ida. It happened to a lot of people that were just, amped up. What was your view of those two runs, starting with the semifinal and then ultimately the final against Hagen?
Well, I don't know if you saw, on Chad's, I left on noise, I think, because I hit the gas. I actually saw the tree against Hagen, and I mean, I don't really know. They hadn't run faster than us all weekend, so I don't really know. They probably were going to have to try something to come meet us, and we ran exactly what we wanted to. So I don't know. That's really not for me to even talk about. I don't really care. I just know the wind light was on, and I did my thing. I saw the tree, hit the gas, drove the car straight, and got to show my boss what we were trying to run. I knew exactly what we were trying to run, and that was what we ran. So it was cool.
Yeah, I think it's just.
I do think to open up on that, it was a weird race in that there was a lot of people that I don't want to say, I got exposed at the last race at Sonoma. On Sunday morning, I lost on a whole shot, and people were getting exposed out there. If you're not on your P's and Q's in NHRA professional drag racing, they send you home quick. And your weekend's over quick, and you are left wondering what could have been, and you got a lot of time in between. You don't have any extra laps to go make it up and fix it. It's just, that's it. So
I love that word. I love that saying, exposed, right? Because it's tough. It makes perfect sense. There's two people on the starting line. The entire world is watching. Something's going to happen. What's it going to be? And if, you get left on, you run quicker. Ouch. There's no better way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, people put a lot of effort into showing up to these things, and they put their own time, money, family, everything. I'm pretty much putting everything on the line, when you go out there and do this. So I really want it to go well. That's all I can say. And at times that doesn't bode in your favor if you want to go, if you're trying too hard. So.
Well, and that's the other side of it, right? Like you can push too hard and it takes you out of your zone. I mean, I've bracket raced and whatnot, but never had to summon like the limits of my ability to react. Like that's a different thing that I can't even imagine how challenging it is. And everybody's so good right now, right? Like Funny Car, Top Fuel, Pro Stock, all the pro categories. It's very, I don't know how different it was than 10 years ago. Maybe you tell me, but it looks vicious out there.
It's different. It's different. And people get to see that if they come back out and play in the waters, that it was about a decade ago that Matt Hagen made everyone speed up a little bit. And I would say that it hasn't really happened right. I mean, Prock's had to have made some people speed up a little bit, and JR's answered the call, and it's been fun to watch him drive this year. And other people kind of have to answer the call if they want to come and meet that race car anywhere, anytime. You kind of have to you've never had to really do anything like that before, and as long as I've been doing this, and I mean, I would say maybe someone, if you were racing against Steve Torrence back when he was doing all that, he was doing really, really well driving, doing really, really well running the car, and it was steady. But this is a little bit different, where this kid, I did make fun of him though, a little bit on Sunday night. He was being really fun with me and hanging out. And I said, some of us didn't hate to see you make a mistake for the first time this year, buddy. So, it was just, he's really solid and his family's really solid. And they are really, really, really doing a good job this year.
Well, you know what? And also that interview he gave where he like just destroyed himself in front of the world for his mistake. I thought it was great because I think that's why people like people. And you've given some really good and honest and genuine interviews. And JR, I was so impressed with his interviews of a roller coaster ride he was on with the body and whatnot. I think that's what creates fans of the sport. People won't change the channel.
People like to see people go up and down. And, when you drive funny cars, you go up and down a lot. I mean, some of the stuff that happened to me, if it happened in Top Fuel, guys would wipe the wing off and maybe ask their photographer if they got some pictures. And when you go through it in a funny car, man, my body was pretty banged up after the Sonoma race and my back and head and everything, neck. So I was just trying to make it. I went immediately back and started working out immediately and doing everything like it was normal, but it wasn't normal. And I was telling Leah how I tried to run the first day and I couldn't run. And then the second day I could kind of run at my normal pace again. And then eventually, I knew I was going to be okay when I got to Brainerd. And it was pretty fun.
People don't even think about that. I mean, maybe some do, but they don't. Mark Rabilis with some great photos from the winner's circle. Just a tremendous. Who's getting the bath here? Who's getting the champagne bath or the cool bath?
That's Dylan. That's Dylan's dad, Shane Cromwell. And it was really, really cool to have them there. I was taking videos of them working together, him and his mom. Tiffany and Shane were working together on the car. And Shane was actually mixing nitro and measuring the tires. And, he had a pretty important job, so much as that I was like, dude, Jim can't yell at him. This is crazy. I'm just kidding. But no, we were making jokes about everything and just having fun. And they're great people. And obviously what happened in the past is something that happened to Jim, Dave, and I. And Glenn and Chris and all the other men who were around when that happened, we kind of wear it still because you can't not wear it when someone young like that is taken away from you. And it was cool to have them with us. And I really appreciated them being there and just their nature of positivity, and having Kevin there too was really cool, their son.
Amazing. Earlier in the day, I saw Jim as you were staging the car. He tapped on Dylan's face on the side of the car in a very, very personal way, which of course that makes sense. But to know, and I didn't know that they were there and they were helping you and you won, that's another layer that I'm just realizing right in this moment, Blake. That's great. Incredible way to bring it all together.
Yeah, I don't even have the trophy. I gave it to them. So, it's they're a part of our family. That's all I can say.
Amazing. Yeah, there's Jim Head. All right, let's ask you, how'd you celebrate, the zoo and all that Sunday night? You don't have to tell us everything.
I honestly didn't want to go. And then Austin and some people convinced me, Chad Green, basically some of my friends who aren't good influence. I'm just kidding. But that I needed to get on the golf cart and go make a lap around the zoo. So Hunter and I did that, and that was really fun. I got to spend some time with some fans, and it's really cool to see that a bunch of them are pumped that some of the pictures that we took while we were out there made it up online. And it was just a surreal day, like I said, with everything happening leading into it. And then, I'm still trying to get my voice back now. And it just seemed to be, meant to be in a way, even though I would have never imagined it, that we would show up there, rip on Friday night, and then kind of figure out how to get it done. So
amazing. All right, let's look ahead. It's going to be great for you guys to roll in to the 70th Toyota U.S. Nationals as the most recent race winner on the tour. Last year, Antron and Ron Capps won Brainerd, went on to win Indy. That's just random numerology. But there's got to be something to the feeling of confidence. Give me a little Indy preview for yourself, your team. What are you doing? What do you got going? And talk a little bit about the biggest drag race on the planet.
Well, we're still recovering from Friday night in Sonoma somewhat. I mean, I know that sounds kind of strange, but when that happens, it's a long process to get everything back up to the level of inventory that you want, and just make sure everything's been treated properly. and we're getting a new body back in the works, and it should be done like in Indy right a few days before. So we'll slap all of our Pronto stuff on there. We have a great event, and it's going to be happening with XL Parts. They had an acquisition there a couple of years ago, and we really like enjoyed having people up there grow into our little niche of NHRA Drag Racing and the Pronto Nitro Club. So yeah, it'll be good. Car's fast. Obviously, I think it might be hotter, and Brainerd is a little bit of a fairy tale racetrack where you could throw stuff at it, like, and just a lot of different things will work on that nice racetrack. And Indy, you know, it'll be a little bit hotter. It typically is. And maybe we'll have to look into, you know, running the race car kind of like you ran in the second round or third round yesterday.
Interesting. Question from one of our members of the audience, Blake, who is a super fan. Like, what kind of things did you do around the shop, around the week to help the team? I think you're the money guy, right? Like, you're chasing bucks.
Yeah, I haven't been to the shop since COVID, April 2020. So I mean, I don't really go into the shop and work, but I have a different responsibility, which is to help bring sponsors to the race team and connect the dots on all that. So.
And no, that's great. That's great. And Dan says, you know, do you race for a living? Like, I think that's the answer is yes.
Yeah, I do.
Professional race car driver. Does that make sense to you? You know, here you are. You've been doing this. You said 14 years, professional race car driver in the NHRA, and it seems to be working out and getting better.
Yeah, I mean it's ups and downs. I didn't really think that if you had told me that we would be doing this interview after I left Sonoma, I'd probably be like, what? But yeah, that's what I do for a living. And I have the good fortune of working for Jim, and it kind of allows me to find the sponsors and connect the dots with all these people in business. And I kind of run the Pronto program with a few really nice young ladies. And we keep all the customers coming, keep the promotions running, keep as many auto parts flying off the shelves as possible as we can for our sponsors.
What's this hat you've been wearing the past couple of days? It's all black. It looks cool, but is it?
I don't know. I bought it in the Boston. I was out with Jordan Vandergriff, and he was leaving to go to the Red Sox game, and I was like, didn't know what to do, so I just went and bought a couple of hats, and I've been wearing them. I don't know. Everyone keeps asking me that. I guess I need to get my own hats made, but I just am too busy doing other stuff.
Well, people are clearly paying attention. Blake, is there anything you want to say to the WFO universe out there before we let you go as we get ready to go to this critical time of the season? I always say Brainerd is like one of the last, like, really fun. They're all fun, but you get what I mean. It's about to get really intense. Hopefully you guys
I think people were noticing that a little bit on Sunday, that it's about to get really intense.
Yes.
Because, if you don't have your stuff figured out right now, you probably don't have it figured out all year. So. Yeah.
You're seventh in the points. Are you guys going to be able to run for the championship? You're going to make top 10. Are you guys going to,
yeah, I don't even know if we're going to go to all the races in the countdown yet. And I don't, I think we're going to go to most of them, all of them. And we'll probably get up pretty and try. I don't understand why people I go there and try to win every time. So I'm technically going to try to collect as many points every time. I just honestly didn't even know how close it was until I got to the racetrack this weekend and that all that stuff was going on. So yeah, but yeah, I don't really have anything to say about it really, other than we kind of figure it out on the fly, and we're running all the races except for one for the rest of the year right now scheduled. But maybe if we find some more money, we'll go to another one.
That's exciting. Listen, man, you're doing great, doing a great job. And I really loving your interviews too. Like, people want to see that. And so keep it up, keep going. We'll see you in Indy, and congratulations on this win. So many layers to it. Every time the Jim Head team wins, he's got so many fans out there. You as well. So good job, Blake. Thank you very much for coming on WFO.
Yeah, thank you. I used to have to beg you to come on this show, so it's kind of nice that you have to ask me this time.
That's not true. I never made you beg. You said, hey, can I come on the show? And I always said, yeah.
I politely asked.
Early on. You were like, I don't know if this was your first interview or what, but yeah, we've been doing this a long time. I guess I'm old too now. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Well, it's good to see you, man. Later.
Take care, buddy. Good job. Good job. Blake Alexander with us here on WFO Radio. A tremendous victory, a popular victory. Is one of the, I would call him a racer favorite, right? In the pits. Like, everybody likes Blake. They want to see him do well. Jim Head as well. And they did well. And so what will happen? Sitting 7th in the points, 540 out of the lead, but he's got some points up. Paul Lee in the top 10 as well. Those two have to be in the top 10 because they did not go to all the races. Alexis and Cruz and Buddy and Dave Richards, they don't have to be in the top 10 because they have made an attempt at every race. And I know we've debated that in the past, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it's working out, a little bit working out, but we'll see. All right, our next guest is in the ready room, Justin Ashley, going to talk a little bit about his tremendous victory, a big victory right at the right time. But first, let's watch the NHRA on Fox call of said victory with Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon, Bruno Massel, comp winner at the race, on the top end of the racetrack with a big interview. And someone texted me like, Justin seemed much more emotional, like as if this win was more meaningful. We'll ask him about it, but after we watch.
Ashley was out first, and he gets there first. 374.5 at 329 miles an hour for Sean Langdon, a slowing 402 at 261.
So for the third time this year, Justin Ashley is your Top Fuel champion. Justin, it's been a little bit of a slump for you guys. You started off fast, went through a slump, and it looks like you're peaking at the right time. You left first, you outran him. Does it get any better than that?
No, it doesn't. This was fantastic. What an incredible weekend. You know, the first burnout we did on this new chassis, on this new car that we have, was Q1 here this weekend. And I think right now we're hitting our stride. For us, it's all about the countdown and preparing for Indy, which is the next one. And this was an all-team Toyota final. But to be able to put this car specifically that has all the touches from everybody Metalcraft of Mayville right into the winner's circle is just feels so good. Mike, Tommy, and the guys, this is because of them. They work incredibly hard. They put this car together on short notice. And Randy, Maria, everybody at Metalcraft of Mayville, thank you guys for everything that you do. Mac Tools, Lucas Oil to Lucas Oil Race, Impact, Cotto, the list goes on and on. It's because of them that we're out here doing what we do. Great job, team. Thank you to all our Skag Power Equipment dealers and distributors out here this weekend. I was riding like a cheater, a turf tiger all weekend. So awesome job, everybody.
Justin Ashley, and he joins us now here on WFO Radio. All right, you tell me, Justin, more meaningful? You looked a little more emotional and appreciative. Not that you don't, but it had been a minute.
Yeah, I think they're all meaningful. They're all unique in their own ways, and each win is better than the next. But this one in particular, I think, was a bit emotional just because of how everything came together. You know, the guys worked incredibly hard. We had this new car built, but they still had to do all the plumbing and all the electrical and get it ready in a really short period of time. And that's one of my favorite parts about NHRA drag racing. It's so easy to see everything that happens out on the racetrack, but it's all the preparation that even allows you to be out there. So the guys spent a lot of time at the shop, spent weekends there getting it ready to go. And I just love the fact that they could see all of their hard work to come to fruition. And we started running well throughout the weekend and throughout qualifying, but just to see the kind of consistency that we had on race day after a few races where we probably didn't perform up to par, up to our own expectations, it was really meaningful to us and really meaningful for the guys.
That is tremendous. Some congratulations out there from Monica saying congratulations to you and your team. Steven say great to see one of the Skag cars in the winner's circle. Fast Eddie saying congratulations as well out there in the WFO universe. And Derek wanted to make sure that that was in fact a new chassis. I think you told us earlier this year that you were going to be breaking out a new car at some point before the U.S. Nationals. And I will admit to maybe speculating is whether or not that's a good idea right before the countdown, and clearly first race out you win. Yeah, I guess it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look, it's only one race. We don't need to look any further ahead than that. Obviously, it looks like a good decision right now, but this sport is so hero to zero. You saw it with a lot of people on Sunday. You've seen it with us throughout the entirety of the year. So we're not going to look past Indy. We're happy with the results that we have on the new car. And yes, it is a brand new chassis. It just happens to be going along with a brand new wrap. So both are brand new. But yeah, we're happy with the results after one race. We think that we're moving in the right direction, but we certainly have a lot of improvement that we need to make. I always have room for improvement as a driver. And I really want to thank Randy, Maria, and everybody at Skag Power Equipment, Metalcraft of Mayville, Skag Racing, all of our dealers and distributors for allowing us to be out here and not only do what we love and accomplish what we do on the racetrack, but help to give us the resources like a brand new car from everybody at PBRC that helps us to be successful and find success on and off the racetrack. All of that stuff really adds up to a great culture, a great organization, and hopefully a championship along the way.
All right, so let's do a little homework for Mr. Glady, who pulled me aside this yesterday or Sunday, and we were talking a little bit about it. And I just went over to him and I said, because we, chit chat on the starting line every once in a while. And I was like, hey, I really like the animals. Like I like the animals, whether it's related. See, I did not know that every one of the Skag machines has actually got a name that is associated with an animal. So the fact that as we unfolded the layers, that these animal characters, maybe the characters were new, but the names were not new. This is part of Skag. And he's like, it was so funny because he's clearly a very decisive human being. He goes, I'm locked up on this. I don't know what to do. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, people want us to keep the animals for Indy, but I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I go, well, I like the animals and I think kids like the animals and drag cars with names are really good. He goes, yeah, but I don't know. I kind of want to keep them and I don't really know. I was like, it's always a good idea to ask the drivers because the driver that likes his car is a good driver because that's a really good idea. So let's talk about it right now on WFO. Judge Justin, you're back. You're on the spot. Keep the animals or go back to the traditional look?
We're going to go ahead and keep the animals. And he did take your advice. He did ask the drivers and he asked the teams, and we appreciate that very much. I think win or lose, we would have wanted to keep the wrap anyway, just because the feedback has been so good. Love, serve, and care is what we're all about at Skag Racing. And that goes for the fans as well. And they show us so much love. And we want to show that love back. They gave us tremendous feedback with the new wraps. They love the way each of the wraps looked. Our car, sure, but the Richards brothers' car and Daniel Wilkerson's car as well. So we love that. Had a bunch of kids run up and take a look at the car and like the different animals. It looks fast. It was fast. So all in all, thank you, Joe, for speaking to Randy and giving him that advice. And we said, Judge Justin said, yes, level down. We're keeping it.
There you go. Look at us bringing like two bits together in this one deal. Well, AJ mentions, or Derek mentions snake and mongoose animals. Everybody out there saying, and our YouTube question of the week for the comment section, should they keep the animals down there? Which is really just a way to get people to comment on our YouTube video so that the algorithm puts it out there. But, we're not hiding the fact that we're trying to trick the algorithm. But it was a good looking car and you got the job done, starting off with a win over Billy Torrence. And you guys are 7-8 going out there, 14-car ladder. You got down the racetrack to set up a matchup against Tony Stewart. So Billy, tough. Tony had his best run of the year. Like this was a very challenging performance-themed race.
It was. Usually they are when you're in the middle of the field. And we qualified 7-8 when we went out there to race Billy in the first round. And really, we thought, to be completely honest with you, we were going to be the first pair out there. And we ended up being the last pair. So we were able to watch some of the pairs go down in front of us and make the necessary adjustments. And I think one thing that was really helpful for us was Q4. We ended up running in that last qualifying session, I think a 374, and it ended up being probably 5th or 6th quick of the session, but it was the quickest before it rained. So once it rained, it started cooling everything down. But based on the track temperature, a 374 at that time was a really good run. And we were able to take that and learn from it and apply it throughout the rest of the day, starting in round 1 against Billy. And man, Billy, whether it's Billy or Steve, those guys are tough. I have a lot of respect for those guys over there. And we certainly didn't want to take ourselves out of the race. And we did not have lane choice. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get down the racetrack and run relatively quick. And fortunately for us, we turned on a win light, learned a lot from that run, and definitely had to apply it. We had a lot of really tough matchups throughout the day.
Yeah, they kept coming. Josh Hart, resurgent. They had been a little bit in the wilderness for a couple of, the end of last year, the beginning of this year, but now they seem to have found their performance. He was good on the tree. You got through Josh to set up that final round against Sean, which always gets me excited because it's like strength versus strength on that. Sean, a former champ and everything he's done for the most part, known for his starting line prowess, as are you. They got great resources. You now have great resources. And it was just an awesome setup for the final round.
Yeah, there are a few guys in particular that I really enjoy racing against. Anytime I get behind the wheel, I have an absolute blast. I try and make sure of it. But Sean Langdon is one of them. Antron Brown, Doug Coletta, Tony Stewart. There are a number of guys that I kind of try and model my driving style after, and those are just some of them. I don't want to leave anybody out. There's a number of other really good drivers out there, but those ones are fun for me. Sean is a really, really cerebral driver. He understands these cars just as good as anyone, and I think a large part of that probably just comes from experience, even in bracket racing. So to be able to line up against him, you know that the margin for error is super small. So try and be on your A game the best that you can. And I felt like we had a really good car going into the final round. But as far as I'm concerned, Sean is a winner. They have a lot of really good resources, but they have a lot of really good brain power over there. But obviously we do too. You know, Mike Green and Tom Delago, they've been going back and forth in the lounge all day long, trying to strategize. And we were able to really find that 374 to 376 window all day long. And sometimes that's what it takes to win. And to be able to go down the racetrack and win like that, have real consistency throughout the day, I think kind of just brought a sense of stability to our organization and our program. And we got to carry it forward. But man, what a tough day from Billy to Tony Stewart. What a tough matchup that was. Josh, who you knew it was only a matter of time before he was going to start get things going, and the way he leaves the line to Sean in the final. There was barely any room for breath until the race was over.
Yeah. When it was over, though, as you came around the corner, I thought it was cool how you and Sean had a moment. And even when you got champagne on his car, he was like laughing about it.
I didn't know that until you said that. Was it me or was it the other drivers who got it?
It was everybody with bottles.
Okay, I didn't mean
Bruno. It's Bruno's fault. It was really TV's fault.
Bruno's fault.
Get up there. You got to pop the bottle in the.
I don't even drink, so I was trying to go everywhere except for on me. So I apologize if I got in his car. I didn't even mean to do that. But hey, listen, he's a good sport. I enjoy my conversations with him. I've tried to learn from him as much as I can. I think I've convinced myself that he knows more than I'll ever know, because he'll have conversations with me where he's like, listen, as soon as you left, I knew you left by 200ths because you were this distance ahead of me. And I knew I had a hole out on the right side. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you just said. I'm still trying to process where I am on the racetrack. So he's just that kind of driver, that kind of guy. And always appreciate my conversations with him.
No, he really is. He's one of those savant type characters. Yeah. Like, for drag racing, he's like a prodigy pretty much. Yeah. And he's happy this year. They're running well. Second in points. Doug's first. You're third. 105 out with a pretty decent gap to Steve behind you. And all the way back through Antron, you guys are countdown clinch going into the big go, which is 1.5 points. So I would imagine you're looking ahead to get as close as is possible to the top of the points sheet for the reset. But also just winning the U.S. Nationals. Your dad won the U.S. Nationals. That race is the one that everybody wants to win. Let's look ahead to that race and the single significance of the U.S. Nationals and how big a deal it is. Just speak on it a little bit for our fans.
Yeah, it's huge. My dad won that race in 2007 in Funny Car, and I was up at the top end. And ever since that moment, I've always wanted to win that race more than any other one. It's just prestigious. As a driver and his teams and his crew chiefs, whatever your role is, the two things I think generally that stick with people the most are how many times and have you won the U.S. Nationals, and how many times and have you won a championship or championships. So this is a big one. This is really prestigious. A special thank you to Toyota for now being the new primary sponsor of the U.S. Nationals this year. That adds another interesting and fun dynamic and element to it for us being a Toyota car. It's just a really meaningful and prestigious race. It's a long weekend with the extra qualifying session. You get to learn a lot before you actually race on Labor Day on Monday, but everybody is on their A game because it's the last race of the regular season. They're all preparing for the countdown, but our guys are focused just on Indy right now. Everything we do, of course, will have the intent and purpose of being ready for the championship and the countdown run, but we want to win Indy. It's a prestigious one. It's a big one. That's the one that everyone wants to win. So everybody's going to be dueling it out throughout the day. I think last I heard, maybe there were 21 cars registered. By the time we get there, there might even be 21 or 23. So I'm sorry, 21, 22, 23. So I think you see a really fast bump spot, especially with that last or added extra qualifying session. So competition is going to be stout, and it's a prestigious one.
Yeah, and the cars that Zizzo's going, like all these cars that are really good quality cars. I hear Tripp's going. They're not full-time cars, but they can cause headache for the full-time cars. And This is that one-off. It's like the Indy 500. It's like the Daytona 500. Nothing else matters but winning this race if you can do it. Do you have anything planned for the week that you're going to be involved in? Any Justin Skag related fan appearances, anything? I know we still got some time for you to get those on the books, but if you had one, please let our people know.
Yeah, so we have a few things going on. We're still working on planning some things out. But two things that I know as of right now that I'm doing on Friday morning, we're doing some TV for the U.S. Nationals to promote the race on Friday morning. And then we're visiting a children's hospital. I believe I know it's at least Alexis DeJoria and I. We are going to go visit the local children's hospital on behalf of Toyota and speak with some of the children there and do a bit of a show and tell. So I do not know what I'm going to bring. So if anyone in the WFO universe has any suggestions on maybe an item that I can bring and talk to the kids about that, I'm certainly open to suggestions, but grateful for the opportunity. And it'll be nice to give back to the community a bit.
What's that creature on the side of your car? It's a tiger, right?
A tiger and a cheetah. I cannot bring a tiger. I'm not bringing a tiger.
A real tiger, a stuffed tiger. Bring them some stuffed tigers. You can get those, you know.
I thought you meant a real tiger. I'm like, what? Joe, come on. I would need help. Maybe someone out there in the WFO universe is more familiar with tigers than I am. I was thinking like a fire suit, a helmet, a Wally, something
not
racing related.
All right.
No, well, I can bring a stuffed tiger too.
The Wally.
And I'll name him Joe.
You could give the kids stuffed tigers. That's a nice idea. You get a whole bunch of them and you come in with the stuffed tigers. They'll remember you forever with a little keepsake. If they're able to have that stuff, because these kids have got challenges. I've done a toy drive and I know that, believe it or not, there are toys that they can't have, but the Wally is always great. The racing helmet that you wear, most people have never got the experience of seeing anything remotely like that up close, maybe a football helmet, but not a racing helmet, and how much more significant and substantial they are. But you're fine. You're a creative guy. You'll know. So it's 20 Top Fuel dragsters at the moment. And I'm just scanning the cars. Like Doug Foley has got a car that has gone to the semis and finals and is capable of winning. Krista Baldwin says they figured out their problem, right? And that they're going to be good. TJ Zizzo, of course. Dan Mercier has been fast, has made Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge, which, by the way, you made for Indy, which is going to be great. Ida is now out there. Ida, what an amazing debut. This could be, in Top Fuel, the toughest U.S. Nationals that has ever happened competition-wise.
It probably will be. And it's funny because there's 14 full-time cars, but as far as I'm concerned, when you read the names off those lists, they're all full-time cars, really. And a funny story about Krista, I was on the starting line, I think maybe Saturday, watching the end of qualifying. And she said, she looks at me, I'm on the scooter, she's on hers. And she goes, listen, you and I are going to have a talk about this cheetah thing. You know, I don't know if this is going to fly, both me and you having a cheetahs on the side of our car. I said, listen, you got the cheetah thing. That's your cheetah thing. If our cheetah thing starts to look like your cheetah thing, then we have bigger problems. So we're all good there. No worries about that. So that was a funny little conversation.
That's great. She stepped to you. She
stepped to me. I like that.
On her turf.
It was a funny conversation. We have two different types of cheetahs. But yeah, no, it's going to be tough. She's got a really good race car. She was telling me that they learned a lot match racing, and they learned a lot when they had Spencer driving the car as well. So her and Foley and all the others, Ida obviously had a really impressive debut, and the Mater organization over there at JCM, they're a really talented group. So top to bottom, everybody out there is going to be super, super, super tough. First round, you got to start by trying to qualify for that race before anything else. It's going to be that good.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to double back, the Wally gloves, everybody is weighing in. Pretty much the same things we said. They're helping you out a little bit. Frisky likes my helmet idea. All right, let's talk countdown. We've been down this road a couple of times, but in my opinion, and we've talked about it in our interviews in the past, that you haven't been through the countdown the way you're about to go through the countdown, as in full resources, max power. You guys, now with Randy on the team, like the whole point of this thing was so you could be at your strongest at the end of the year when it is the most challenging. You've run all season long. You've hopefully got everything you need. The Dallas, Vegas, Pomona stretch run were big performance. You remember Dallas last year, the ability to run way down into the 60s. I know it's a little different this year with the new front ends on the car, but do you feel like you guys have got the tune up to hang with Alan Johnson in those critical, cool weather, really throw down sessions?
Well, I think that we're if we don't have it now, we're certainly working on it, and we're going to find it, because Mike Green and Tommy DeLago are great at what they do. As far as I'm concerned, they're the best in the business, and I'm grateful to be able to work with them and learn from them each and every race. So yeah, I mean, I think we have an excellent tune-up, and if there are areas that we can find improvement in, I'm sure that they will work and find improvement in those areas. But I'm really grateful, honestly, Joe, to be in this position. I'm very thankful to have the resources that we haven't had the opportunity to have in the past. It's really exciting. It's prepared us for this stretch here in the countdown. This 6-race stretch is what it's all about. And as important as the regular season is, it's about preparing yourself for this really quick and really fast and really exciting playoffs. So I'm really excited to have these resources, but also that does not guarantee us anything. It does not guarantee us anything at all. There are teams out there that have resources, that have success, that don't have success, that fall somewhere in between. So we still have to do our part, both on and off the racetrack, to make sure that we find success. But just knowing that we have opportunities we may not have had in the past, really makes us very excited. And as we go into the stretch, our relationship with companies like Toyota is going to be absolutely critical, because that data and information down to a T, down to a science, is all going to add up, especially as we go throughout, those qualifying and the bonus points and then into the round points. So it all adds up together.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Your Jets are 2-0 in the preseason. You want to give us a Jet report?
Yeah, I'll give you a Jet report, but it's the preseason. I mean, there's not much to talk about. I mean, listen, Joe.
Good attitude. Good point.
I don't want to get too high. I don't want to get too low. I think they're in a good position. I do think you build teams inside out. Offensive line's good. Defensive line's pretty solid. They're trying to bring in Hassan Reddick, who's in a bit of a contract holdout right now. That's another story. But if they can hold up and they can stay healthy, I think they'll be good. I do also happen to think your Miami Dolphins are going to be pretty darn good too, because they're like a track team. When you watch them play, I'm not really supposed to say this because they're in the Jets division, but they are one of the most fun teams to watch just because of how they move the football and their offensive philosophy. So a lot of good football in that division, including the Bills. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun year.
Yes. No, it's going to be a very, very fun year. We'll get to take in some of it and hopefully siphon some of those football fans over to watch a little drag racing, because, we like football. There's no reason they can't like drag racing too. Justin, great job. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Congratulations on a tremendous win. Happy anniversary to your mom and dad, like 33 years, something amazing like that. That's tremendous. And your dad was super kind to me out there this weekend. Just great stuff. Congratulations on your win. And we'll see you in Indy.
Thank you, Joe. We're always thinking about you. We appreciate everything that you do. And have a good day, everyone. Appreciate you, WFO Universe.
There goes Justin Ashley with us here. Thanks, Justin, on WFO Radio. How about that? So we solved a lot of problems there. Look, we're keeping the animals, right? Or it's up to the drivers, keeping the animals. Hopefully he's going to bring a helmet, which I think like someone who said it, who's down here saying it? Joey Rocket, right? He's like the rock guy that you see on the starting line. And everybody wonders, like, who is that guy? And I always tell him, it's Joey Rocket. He says, take a barrel valve and explain what it does. I mean, I guess that could be interesting. I don't know. Like, depends on the kids that we're talking about, but interesting. Let's put your final comments in the comments section as we, on this results show, check out the Pro Stock final round on NHRA on Fox with Dallas Glenn picking up the win over Mason McGahey. So good to see Mason take that car to the final round. And, the McGahey family, we want to keep them out there. We want to keep them interested. And final round by Mason gets the job done. But in the end, the points leader, who I misidentified. I said that Greg Anderson was the points leader on Saturday. I got a quick text. And by like 200 points now, Dallas is leading. Let's watch NHRA on Fox.
Machines now pre-stage. In goes Mason McGahey. McGahey's car has problems early. He had a huge starting line advantage of some 5/100ths of a second, but the tune-up was not good enough to carry him to the finish line under power. For Dallas Glenn, 661.3, a 206.95, and a part of me believes, Tony, Dallas might have been thinking a little bit about Aaron Stanfield, and now he took a shot to pull away from him even further.
Well, Dallas Glenn picked up another victory here in Pro Stock. This is a guy who is truly a student of the game. He wins the race and is beating himself up about him late on the tree. You said that you've been flickering the bulb and doing all kinds of goofy stuff, but you're the man holding the wally here today. What was key for you this weekend?
This was definitely a team one here. The crew chief, Dave Connolly, Rob Downey, Nate Van Wassenhoven, they definitely did their job. My engine tuner, Brian Fleck, they've been working really hard. We went testing on Monday, made 11 hits. about killed me. But this is definitely a team. You know, I tried to do my job when we needed to, and they definitely did their job all day long and gave me the absolute killer car. And, you know, it was a little bit of a gamble getting into this new one, but I think it's starting to pay off, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going. But it's great for Rad Torque Systems, DPF Parts Direct, Summit, Jesse, all the sponsors that keep this going. And you know, I do want to say something for Jerry Haas. You know, he scared us a little bit there on Thursday. We were talking to him, and then the next thing you know, he's going to the hospital. But that, and you know, it's a tough week. Scotty Richardson and Scott Bloomquist for the big up here, and you know, I love dirt racing too. But no, it's just it was a great day. So let's go to Indy and try to get a Too Fast Too Tasty win and seal the deal.
There goes Dallas Glenn. Good kid, man. Like he's not a kid, by the way, but he's a good person, right? Dallas wants to get everybody in. And there was a lot of talk about Scotty Richardson, Scott Bloomquist. What a shocker that one was. You know, tragic passing. Scotty was ill. Jerry was back at the track. Just to update everybody on all those storylines, Jerry Haas was back at the track on Sunday. It was so great to see him back at the racetrack. And what a race. What a just wild and weird and tremendous race. I want your comments in the comment section. We'll tell you about the rest of the race winners in a moment or two as we begin to wrap up the show. Let's get those comments in the comment section. But I would love to tell you about a couple of things like our great Marvin Rodak. If you're a coffee drinker, if you love coffee, if you're one of those coffee files and you're seeking out the best coffee, I know there's a whole bunch. There's a lot of different companies out there that have various flavors of coffee, but what's different is that many of these companies, like they have their flavor or two of coffee and then they market it, right? That's not what Marvin Rodak is doing. Marvin Rodak is getting coffee from around the world, and it is like a micro brew or a small batch bourbon that he is getting, but for coffee. And he's got it from different plantations around the country. And you can get what, like the style of coffee as opposed to a marketed brand of coffee, if that makes sense. And then what he does is he takes from all of those different blends and he creates his own drag racing themed blends, like our WFO radio blend, like Bang the Blower, which is heavily caffeinated, and different themes like that. The Stampede of Speed blend, which will be coming back this year. You got to give him a call, 817-924-6821. Ask him or tell him what you like and what you're looking for. And it's going to be a much different and personalized coffee experience. If hopefully that makes sense to you out there. If you're looking to just grab a bag of vacuum packed Folgers crystals and you throw it in your cup and you stir it up and you're good enough, that's not really the experience we're talking about here. We're talking about something a little more curated to you, and you will love it. If you're going to go down to the Stampede of Speed, maybe you connect with Marvin, and that way you don't have to pay shipping. And all of a sudden you can roll back with 5 or 10 pounds of coffee that is roasted fresh per your order. You can get it full bean, like unground. That makes such a big difference, coffee guys. Like, you got to get it full bean. You got to grind it yourself. It's so much fresher. Once you grind it, like all that, the good stuff starts leaking out. Anyway, 817-924-6821 plus barbecue grills and hot sauces and spice rub to all our racer friends. If you're looking for a next level grill for your team, go to Marvin. He's got all the big names and all the names that people don't really know and fully understand. Maybe they're not the most marketed, but they're actually the best. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Shout out to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Love hearing Fast Jack talk about Frank Hawley. As soon as Fast Jack was announced, Frank was the guy we called. Frank said he's the only guy for the job. Think about all that insight and the fact that you could experience it out there at the Dragster Adventure. It's about to be holiday times, guys. It's time to start thinking about what gifts you're going to get the people around you. A trip to the Dragster Adventure. You know, they travel around the country. So they come to you. You get yourself, or you get someone, you get it for yourself, you get it for someone, a certificate to go on the Dragster Adventure, and then they decide at what track and at what time is most convenient for them. But what is most important is that you will have given them something that they will remember for a lifetime. The best possible gift is an experience gift, not a thing gift. The thing gifts, they get looked at, maybe they get used, and then they get thrown aside, and then at some point they become junk, and then they get thrown away eventually, right? Let's just be honest with one another. But the experience gifts, those are the ones that are looked upon fondly for years and years. So go to frankhawley.com, give them a call, tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio, and they'll set you up with something. They'll certainly talk to you about it. Also want to mention our Patreon listener club. Guys, these people are amazing folks. It's really incredible each week when, I do content for the Patreons, but I had been off for a couple of weeks. For those that don't know, I think we know now. I think everybody is up to speed now. We talked about it on the Ignition show, but my father passed a couple of weeks back and just, shocked me and took me out of the seat for a while. And Patreon's got nothing, right? But finally, the first show back was for the Patreon, and they are like it's amazing. They're hanging out with each other and they're making, going to places together on the West Coast and going to races together. It's a community. It's not just a listener club. It's a community of racers that are doing their own things. It's like I almost have lost, not that I ever aspired for control, but I've lost control. They're doing their own things. They're going on shows and they're supporting each other and they're promoting races and they're going out on tour and they're setting up meetups and they're hanging together at the racetracks. I could never have dreamed that our WFO listener club, and they pay a membership, they get behind the scenes content, but would have grown and developed into what it is. So maybe you want to join patreon.com/WFO radio. And, what can I say? It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. It's an amazing thing. And these people were so kind to me. I got a text from like each and every one of them in my difficult situation, my difficult time. Of course, our regular sponsors like Total Seal and FTI, like Foggett and Bernie's and CWT Industries and Phillips and Jesse Converters on board, of course, and Samtech and Rodex and everybody who helps out Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Project Pontiac is moving along. A lot of people have been asking about Project Pontiac, like when's it coming? When is this build project? When are you going to be on track? And our goal is to be on track at Speed World Dragway in Orlando for the Division II race in February of next year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough, but we're giving it a ride. Also want to remind you, you can watch the show on PowerTube TV. PowerTube TV is available on Roku. It's one of those streaming channels for the cord cutters, all kinds of car shows. They're talking about doing live events. They're going to be at SEMA. They're going to be at PRI. PowerTube TV has given us our own like WFO portion. Like under their channel, we have our own channel. We can watch the shows and hear the podcast and all kinds of stuff. Thanks to the folks at PowerTube TV. And if you're watching on PowerTube TV right now, I would love for you to reach out to me. Either slide into my DM on Twitter or X, WFO Joe or WFO Radio, or just send me an email, joe@wforadio.com. Would love to hear from you guys. It's been a great couple of weeks. We've had a great time. Like, so good to see Blake Alexander get the win and have great success out there. But let's talk about some of the other winners from Brainerd. No, I did not go into the zoo. Honestly, after our Saturday was so long, I got to call the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty challenges, and it rained, and we had an oil down. We had all kinds of weird stuff go on. Talked to the Capco boys. They were just bummed. Rear end broke. Shrapnel went through the cap. Gear fluid got everywhere. And I talked to the guys on the team, and they were, like, that's a racing deal. Nobody's to blame for that. It's not like they left the cap off. Metal went through metal, but they were still bummed out, right? I was like, guys, that's not your fault, man. But they were bummed. And I think that people should know that. Like, it's not just a whatever situation. They felt bad that they had caused downtime. And I admire that. Like, I get it. But Hunter Green winning in Top Alcohol Dragster. Hunter, 3 for 3 in 2 wide final rounds. Because I was like, hey, you're undefeated in final rounds. He goes, no, I didn't win in 4 wide. Then I made the final rounds. Like, Hunter Green is going to be another one of our top fuel sensations coming up. Get ready for Hunter Green. Kid is driven. He's intense. He's a nice kid. He's got a good personality. His dad is cool. Get ready for Hunter Green. Big win right there. Bob McCosh, Top Alcohol Funny Car. Got the job done over Sean Bellemere. Bellemere comes over. Big congratulations, but way to go, Bob McCosh, trying to pull himself up into the points battle in Top Alcohol Funny Car. And let me tell you, when you got Bellemere and Matty Gordon and Bob McCosh and all those hitters out there on the property, Top Alcohol Funny Car is going to be wild at the U.S. Nationals. Comp Eliminator, Bruno Massel. Bruno got the job done. I'm going to rat him out. He was wearing shorts for those final round interviews. Yeah, I did it, Bruno. Just kidding. I mean, I'm having fun with you, but yes, you were wearing shorts. That's why, they framed him up from here. Bruno had an eventful weekend. Very fun. But the guy is an incredible performer on the racetrack. And you see him out there behind the camera and he's asking questions and doing interviews. And the fact that he can put that in a box and put the box down and go pick up the race car box and go out there and perform, had Cody Cronin as crew chief, and be so successful against the best in the world is really amazing. Congratulations to Bruno on that. Great success. In Super Stock, it was Jason DeForest, was dead zero in the final round, if memory serves me right. Brian Anderson in Stock Eliminator. He had a little fun with me as I was doing the interviews. This guy had a 1:29 reaction time in round 1. And I was on the mic and I was like, yeah, it's not looking good for Brian. And he somehow pulled it out. His opponent made a mistake. And I said, if he goes on to win this race, he's going to look back at that run as, fortunate. Well, I forgot all about that because that's my curse. The curse of once it has happened, I am looking forward as opposed to backward. And I often, unfortunately, forget little things like that. And maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe everybody does. But I can only tell you that this is my challenge, is to remember as many little details as is possible. And I forgot that one. And Brian's like, no, man, I came back and won the race. I did it. His first round win at the national event level, his first race win at the national event level. Just an amazing experience. So congratulations to Brian. Mike Chaney and Super Comp got the job done. Tom Carlson and Super Gas, along with his grandson, a little grandfather-grandson double up. His grandson, Bodie, won in the Junior Dragster Shootout, which is amazing. Wade Samuel won in Super Street. I was over there talking to Wade, quizzing him, how much does this car weigh, Wade? What are you doing with this car, Wade? And Wade's telling me, not knowing that I'm building a Super Street car as well. That is a full chassis car. Had aluminum floor, had aluminum everything. It was still weighed 2,900 pounds. Project Pontiac is going to weigh about 3,300 pounds. So you're going to have me by about 250 pounds. That's significant. But Wade got the job done. Top sportsman was Darren Butler, a first-time winner. Kendra Larson in Top Dragster. The Larson family had an unbelievable weekend. Not only was Trevor crowned champion, got his ring, got his jacket. They got to hang out in the V, which is what we call between the two top fuel cars down there, and experience Nitro, which they had never done. They put up a very nice post, and they both went deep into the rounds. Trevor got to the final, runner-up. Kendra won the race. It doesn't get much better than that kind of experience. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Louis Werble won Pro Mod Sled. Larry Spider-Man McBride won Top Fuel Motorcycle. Greg Anderson, Austin Prock, and Antron Brown won the Too Fast, Too Tasties. And the results section of NHRA.com says that Tater Troyer won Factory Stock Showdown, but it was not Tater Troyer. It was Scott Libisher. And I know that because Scott, first of all, I'm friends with Tater, but I'm also friends with Scott. And Scott had been fighting so hard for that win. And he had kind of come down by the time we had done the interview. But it was a really great experience for me to know, some of the teams kind of brought me in and tell me about what's going on and give me a little insight so I can increase my knowledge. You got to have people that support you and help you. And Scott and Alex and the guys over there, they finally broke through, man. They finally broke through after traveling like thousands and thousands of miles and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Scott is holding his first Wally in FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown. That was a tremendous, tremendous thing to see. Very exciting. And that'll do it for the event. The Lucas Oil Nationals. Didn't go into the zoo. Honestly, you want to know the real reason? One, old age, just wasn't feeling it, guys. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not all the way back. And number two, there was mud out there. I'm not going to get all covered in mud, right? To get on a plane, all my, stuff covered in mud, just hanging out in the zoo. So this year I took off from the zoo. All right. Final comments in the comments section, and then we'll get up on out of here. And the next show you'll hear will be, we're going to do a couple of Toyota US Nationals preview programs, right? The return of Alan Reinhart to WFO, right? And we're going to look ahead to the biggest drag race on the planet. And hopefully everybody that's WFO will be out there genuinely recruiting your friends and family to lock in and experience this event, either in person on NHRA TV or on NHRA on Fox. Like, plan a watch party, order some food, get some beverages, invite your neighbors. Why are you having this party? I'm having this party to celebrate the U.S. Nationals. What is the U.S. Nationals? It's the biggest drag race on the planet. It's a fun race. How about you fill out your drag race bracket bonanza bracket? How about you go to play NHRA and place a wager? How about you create that game with the boxes? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, that's like, wear your gear all week long until next week, like NHRA gear every day of the week leading into Indy first qualifying session. These are the little gadgets, the little gizmos that fans of drag racing, and hopefully like all the shows, like, let's get everybody to wear their gear for this next 2 weeks. Like, wear your NHRA gear always when you're going out to the Home Depot, when you're going to Menards, when you're going to Lowe's, when you're going to your local hardware store, Ace, right? Like, wear your NHRA gear. Everybody rep their gear. Like, pull out the shirts, pull out the gear, so that everyone is like, I'm seeing something is happening out there in the world. I think it works. You don't have to participate with my stupidity. You know, if you think it's dumb, that's your business. Your business. Let's see. All right, here we go. Starting off with Blake. Final comments. Joe, I explained to my 78-year-old pastor how to subscribe to WFO. He calls me the same times to talk about WFO notifications and NHRA news. Thank you, Blake. Good job, Blake. That's one under Blake's name, because a big Ponzi scheme, WFO, you'd have one under you. Justin, Ashley is always a great interview. Kimmy wants to have Slugger on the show. I'll tell you the story. I have said to Slugger several times, I would love to have you on WFO radio. And he hasn't flat out refused, but he has given me the vibe that he's not that into it. You know, talk to the people from Toyota, and maybe I could do this, like, you know, putting up barriers, right? Like, the guy got to get the vibe. I got to get the feeling that you want to be on the show. If you don't want to be on the show, But Kimmy wants you on the show, Slugger. And so, because this show is all about what the audience wants until they want something that I don't want, I'm going to try again. We'll work on getting Slugger on the show, especially after that Herculean effort. Let's talk about J.R. Todd. First of all, J.R. Todd's best race as a drag racing personality, in my opinion. JR, when he was down, he told you he was down. When he was up, he told you he was up, and he talked about why he was down in the interview, and he threw the gloves and all of that stuff, man. That's how you earn fans. Fans don't just become your fan just because you won. That's not enough. They want to know the person. And man, I'm watching JR up there thinking like, man, this is great, compelling stuff. And I would call that an instant classic. Brian Loans is already creating the future Nitro time machine for the 2024 Lucas Oil Nationals, the time that Ron Capps lent his body to J.R. Todd. And seeing Todd Smith swinging a hammer, smacking the heck out of something back there, amazing. I went over to Chad Head. Give credit to Jason Galvin, who did a great job on the mic. Excellent work by Jason Galvin, by the way, to think backward and forward. They have already switched to a backup car. So they can't just roll out another backup car. And do they even have another body? He said that on the mic. And I went right over to Chad Head. And I said, Chad, do you guys have another body? And he goes like, you know, and Chad, hopefully you don't mind me sharing this, but this is the color of the story. He said, no. And then he said, F, and got on his scooter and rode away. That's the kind of stuff that will keep people coming back and subscribe to NHRA every week, to follow the journey of humans. You know, 12,000 horsepower nitro cars, they're cool. But people root for people. They don't root for cars. I mean, maybe back in the day, and the tiger on the side of Justin's car is super cool. I could see kids rooting for it. But like that kind of effort. And Ron Capps, you know, genius, by the way. Like, I don't know what was the reason the Napa car was the one. But, and I talked to Slugger on the plane. I was like, why not spec the tree on everything? And he says, it's very close. And that's why we were able to do it. He says, it's very close. But the PBRC cars and Coletta cars. He goes, like they're all a little different. PBRC is JR's car as well. But there were some differences in the mounting locations, which caused all of that. But what an amazing story. The Ida story. I did an interview with Ida early in the week. She was great. Said, I've never really gotten nervous, and went up there and red lighted for the first time in her career. Exactly. Comes into the NHRA, does a fantastic job, got put into a situation. Something happened that had never happened in her career before. What does that tell you about the level of competition in the NHRA? What does it tell you? AJ says, great show. Latoya says, great show. I'm going to see her in Indy. She's going to be out there with Big Mac Neil Freeman. Jeff Rice says the NHRA.TV coverage was great. One of the things that I think we should be pushing NHRA.TV a lot harder than we are. It's the super diehard experience. You watch every run that goes down the racetrack. It doesn't, it's a different show than what happens on NHRA on Fox. But as far as subscriber numbers, which I don't know what they are, but if we could juice those subscriber numbers up to stratospheric levels, then that would also bring more resources. Like everybody needs to be watching NHRA TV, guys. I know so many diehard fans that frankly, subscribed, my phone, I got a flip phone. Like it's too bad because it's such a great access point. Ralph says, good seeing all of yous guys. Hey, Ralphie, thank you very much. Great show. Let's see what else. Looking for comments. To Wally, great show. It's Kara, have a great day. John Force Racing super fan. The Yeti, I didn't see the Yeti out there. He's in a picture in the winter circle. I got out of there, guys. I had 3 hours back to Minneapolis after that weekend. Early flight. Really cool to see all the teams help with the JR body situation. Joe, I've got to commend you on your performance this weekend on NHRA.TV. Well done, sir. Excellent show. Thank you for the self-serving comment there, Frisky. Yeah, I like doing the Saturday stuff, man. I'm getting the opportunity to call the show on Saturday. And, you do it once, just like driving a car, happens pretty quick. You do it twice, things start to slow down. The amount of reps that I get, whoever knows how many there will be, but I really enjoyed the Mission Foods races, racing of consequence, qualifying efforts, good stuff. I am inherently me. I can't be any different. I can't be someone else. I can't be Alan, can't be Jason, can't be Big Mac, can't be Steve Evans. This is it. This is me. If you hate me like vile poison, like some of you do, I'm sorry. This is just it. Can't change. Learned that a long time ago. Just got to be what it is. And I got some positive feedback. It was great to see the Toyota teams helping out. Well, if you're a drag racing fan and you're an old school fan and you ever had a reservation about Toyota being involved in the sport, let me just talk to you for 1 second. It's got to be time to get over it. Toyota, oh my goodness. There's no title sponsor for the U.S. Nationals. Who comes in to save the day? Toyota. Who's helping out with this technical team and all these teams and out there and promoting and making it happen? Toyota. Who's got a great series of marketing and television on TV, promoting drag racing, showcasing their drivers, showcasing the sport, not only on drag racing shows, but on regular shows and on NASCAR shows? Toyota. So, old habits die hard. They do. It's time to reevaluate your stance on the folks at Toyota, because without Toyota, my goodness, drag racing would not be what it is. Thank you, Toyota. They've done a tremendous job. Name the one motorsport where competing teams band together to help out the competitor that would otherwise be loading parts into the trailer instead of making the next round. Exactly, Jim. Exactly. Scott Bloomquist died in a plane that can fly at 40 miles an hour, probably 65 at best, 65 horsepower. I don't think he chose that vessel as deliberate exit. Listen, Kimmy, don't speculate. People are speculating. I don't. That's the last thing that anybody wants to hear, right? All we know, here's where we spend time right now. Scott Bloomquist is the John Force of his sport. And everybody that loves that stuff. And I remember when I was on XM satellite radio doing NASCAR radio, and I got a lot of insight into the dirt late model universe. And it's being in South Florida. It's just not my ultimate motorsports passion, but I appreciate who they are, what they did, and the dedication. And Scott Bloomquist, a unique and over-the-top personality. And we've lost him. And it's a sad day for motorsports. And really, other than the details, like, they don't matter. His family is hurting, and his fellow racers are hurting, and everybody that admired him is hurting right now. And that's as far as I need to go. Galvin said you guys were wiped out at the end of the day on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday was a tough day. Saturday was tough. And, it's all relative. We're not digging ditches, so it's not tough. Like, I got blisters on my hands and my lower back hurts. It's more like your brain hurts and your vocal cords hurt. Speaking of which, I should stop talking any second. But these comments are so good. Joe, can you touch on where the WFO event will be next week? Will you also be bringing WFO items to purchase? I cannot bring WFO items to purchase because that's an NHRA thing and it's an NHRA event. I can't be like selling out of the trunk. That's not right. But if you want a WFO shirt, that is the official shirt, the official podcast shirt, go to Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters on the Midway and get it there. And it's the best shirt because it's got Project Pontiac on the back and it's got me holding the microphone and WFO on the front. You could get a couple of WFO stickers with it. Go see Keelan at Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters in Indy and say, WFO, I want the WFO shirt. You could pick up some stickers. Anyone can pick up some stickers there. And it's part of the NHRA t-shirt ecosystem. If you want to order something online prior to the event, the link is in the chat. But it's not the same shirt. Hot Rod Randy's has the exclusive to the official WFO Radio Podcast shirt with me and Project Pontiac on it. It's cool, man. We worked on designing it, and it's been very popular as well. So that's where you get it. Gareth, WFO listener, says he likes the best appearing car this week. Shout out to Brian Loans. It happened to be Garrett's team car. Gareth and his dad both got their first NHRA National Event round wins this past week. I was on the mic for Garrett's, and he happened to be helping out another gentleman who won the best appearing car. It was beautiful. Thank you, Brian Loans, for stepping up. He was there on Thursday watching the cars and gave us a great best appearing car. Good job, Loans. It's a collab. I make the final call, but I appreciate a little help from my friends. Great interviews today. And yes, Nighthawk. Alan will return to WFO next week and return on Indy. Our long national nightmare is over. That would be a great idea, except I'm going to be there. Okay, well, yeah. You don't get NHRA.tv. I'll be watching NHRA TV like always. Wear your WFO Joe shirt when pushing top fuel cars. Right. I saw you, Yeti. Nice photo. You got a shout out on my Twitter feed today. Oh, Gary. That's such a small and old thing. I have a member shirt, though. Who knows why decisions are made. It's got to be about the numbers in the end, Gary. You still get your pin. You still get all your decals. You still get your discounts. You still get tickets off. You get a discount to NHRA TV. You get all kinds of good stuff. The t-shirt, you don't get it. Sorry. I will take your concept and put it in the suggestion box. I do agree with you. The member t-shirt was cool and also smart because people would wear the member t-shirt and people out there would say, what are you a member of? What do you mean? What is that? I will listen, Gary. Thank you. I will talk to someone this coming week about bringing back the member t-shirt. I will do that. Okay. Because of you, bud. No joke. That's what WFO is. You complain. I get annoyed. Think about it. There's some truth to it. I bring it and I risk my job to get your idea on the table. That's how it works. I'm not risking my job. Situation just might be where every manufacturer has a spec tree for the body mount. I thought about that. Spec trees. I don't know. I'll ask about that. NHRA TV is great. I can't believe it took me this long to subscribe to NHRA.tv. It's the best. How about those 13 trip zero lights during the event, even in junior drags for Memphis Lonnie? I don't know where you got that stat. I don't know that stat. If you got that stat, that's an amazing stat. And it was a bizarre weekend all around. It was one of the great events with all the yips and the red lights and the launch of double steps and perfect lights and a perfect run. Gabe Killian, who was on the mic, who's just 16 years old now, the local announcer, he and Justin did a great job. Justin Dorfler and Gabe Killian. They're both from that area. They both did a tremendous job helping out Galvin and myself. Tony Bogolo returning to racing at Beach Bend this weekend. So is Jason Galvin, by the way, be racing down there. Thanks for a great show. Go Team Pontiac. Thank you very much. The story about the grandfather and the grandson was tremendous. Garrett says, we appreciate it, Joe. It was nice having you call the round. Had my WFO shirt on the line with Vincent Nobile and Mountain Motor Pro Stock and the Super Street car. Yeah, wear your WFO gear, guys, so you can find each other, right? I just want the shirt, Joe. We all want the shirt. Henry says, hit the like button. And don't forget to answer our YouTube comments question. Galvin said it on the mic. There were 13 trip zero lights. Didn't hear him say that. Must have been when I was down on the top end. I have every member pin. I have many member pins. Todd Capps reminded me of Bernstein Blue Max back in the day. And that was the comment that Del Worsham said to Ron. It was an instant classic. Whenever something like that happens, something bizarre, weird, and the teams bond together to help JR and that team and Todd and Jono and all those guys, Michael James, get out there on the track. Like, that's what our sport is all about. And it was an amazing moment. They didn't win, big deal, but they did win. What was the most interesting story of the race? That was. And, Ida and Blake are up there and in the mix, but JR Todd, they probably got the most television time in seconds for DHL and Napa. Blake wants to know if I'll have Bruno on the show. I would love to have Bruno. Bruno's a very busy guy, guys, very busy character. Could be part of the Indy preview. Talk a little bit about all that great comp eliminator stuff that's going on. Speaking of which, speaking of gear, guys, the WFO gear is on sale. The link is in the chat section. I would encourage you to get yours. Order it now so you can get it before Indy. Shirts and hats and fire shirts. We're going to have jet cars at Indy? I don't know. Great for Christmas gifts, too. Get yourself a hoodie. The Miami Hollywood Speedway shirt. Bob Malloy was like, Joe, I brought my shirt, which is super cool. Mike Lewis is like, I made my first Top Fuel run or some amazing stat at Miami Hollywood. First Top Fuel night run at Miami Hollywood Speedway. Just amazing. Parker Theobald. Why not both? Yeah, talking about Project Pontiac. Guys, working real hard to lower expectations. Also working real hard to get things done with Project Pontiac. Gary Stinnett doing a great job. Folks at Foggett, Total Seal. If you really want Project Pontiac to be done, go buy a can of Foggett. And so many people. Folks at Edelbrock helping us out. So many people. Stroud Technologies helping us out. So many people. Hedman Hustler Headers helping us out. So many people helping out to get Project Pontiac on the track so we can go super street racing. Have a great day, and fellow racing nuts. Exactly. And remember, in the comment section on YouTube, when you're sharing it for everybody as part of the pre-race hype for the U.S. Nationals, answer the question, should the Skag cars keep the animal characters on for the U.S. Nationals? Answer that question and tell us why. Congratulations, Blake. Congratulations, Justin. Thank you, everyone, for watching this show, this little show that we know as WFO. Appreciate you all.